All right, for you Marvel fans, got a little bad news here for you. So it turns out that these Marvel superheroes, so-called superheroes, are actually super soldiers. And these super soldiers are not so goodly and fighting for a good cause as we would like. And this is so dark and scary that unless you are ready to take a look at the world that you have not before in a new, dark, and unpleasant way, because you have seen something, you have realized something, that there is a darkness here, that there is a scary, dark cloud hanging over this whole thing that is unpleasant to consider as a reality, but it is the reality. Now, here's the story, okay? Now, I found out about these super soldiers firsthand. And these super soldiers that I believe some of the characters in these hero movies, hero action movies, are based on, are actually not the good guys. They're murderers, big time. Very dark. People that are involved with Satanism, witchcraft, child sacrifice, all kinds of dark and horrible stuff, horrible murder, and so forth. Okay? Now, how do I know this firsthand? Okay? So, in 2019, believe it or not, God sent me angels. Okay? Now, this wasn't like a golden angel flying down, although she did have golden hair. It was actually a Russian girl living in Thailand. I have a whole story about that, which I'm not going to explain fully here. But miracles on a grand scale, biblical scale, occurred, even though everything happened there in Thailand while I was here in Los Angeles. And God arranged it so that I would understand and know everything, even though I couldn't go there and be there firsthand. But I found out all kinds of incredible stuff, and I had been learning about these super soldiers through the Super Soldier Talk channel with James Rink, which is great. I highly recommend it. But again, unless you're ready to know the dark and horrible and yes, depressing truth about our world, then you may not be ready for it. You may say, "Oh, this is BS." People get a lot of people getting. I've realized you can't tell people anything. They have to be ready to look at something dark, which is what happened to me in 2012 after an experience I had that left me asking questions like, what is this darkness? Because I had already been a Christian for 20 years at that point, but I had no idea how dark everything was until I started down this path of discovery starting in early 2013, when I have a whole story. I won't get into it again, but that's how I got into all this and why God ended up sending me these angels. And I had this incredible experience in 2019. Uh, and just briefly about that. So what happened was I discovered the subject of, get this, reptilian shapeshifters. Okay, I know it sounds like loony bins. I want to say I completely understand if it sounds like total wacky loony bins. That's what I thought it was at first. Okay, but by the time I first started seeing these movies, so-called movies on reptilians or reptilian shapeshifters, I saw them on YouTube. I just thought this was just idiots having fun with Photoshop, or getting paranoid about little video errors and so forth. But by the time this happened, I knew something about video because I had been a graphic artist just largely as a hobby. I did it a little bit professionally, but largely as a hobby. So I knew something about digital imaging and all kinds of errors that can occur, compression, redraw, transmission. So little glitches or something. But when I was starting to see like very distinctive beast features, I'm talking about claws, fangs, slit eyes that weren't just a result of two lights on the side. I mean, you really see a solid black bar or even a triangular slit, and you see it transform from human into reptile. And so when I first started uploading about this, I had helicopters buzzing my house within 15 minutes. And so I became what's called a targeted individual, and all this incredible stuff happened to me. And I found out that our government and everything is nothing like what we think. It's all dark and satanic. It's run by, I believe, these non-humans, these reptilians, which are the very same, if you follow the Bible, very same ones as the serpent from the Garden of Eden. Okay, they're still here. It's not a snake on the ground. They're bipedal. They're bigger and stronger and smarter than us. Okay, that's the fact. Doesn't mean that they're better than us overall, but in terms of like trying to take on a serpent, forget it. you know, especially like hand to hand for the most part. You know, I mean, if you've got weapons, that's different. But you know, even then, they're very psychic. They're very powerful. If you ever see one of these things, you know, don't let them push you around. But at the same time, don't think that you're gonna beat it in a fight, because chances are you're just gonna get your ass ripped up into little bloody shreds. Okay, now enough about that. Let me get to this thing about the Marvel superheroes. So what happened was I found out, I personally interacted with two of these characters. Okay, I'll tell you who they are. The Scarlet Witch, okay, you know, the chick that shoots the fireballs. I forget her name. Anyway, they call her the Scarlet Witch. She shoots fireballs. And the person that I knew really had those powers. No, I didn't see it directly with my eyes, but I knew this person over time, and I talked with them in depth. And by the way, I'm not going to say who it is. You're going to be asking me who it is. How come you don't say who it is? Because the angel asked me not to say it. That's all I'm going to tell you about that. And I wasn't in a position to say no to her, because she helped me more than anybody else had ever helped me. And I'm tremendously grateful. And she asked me very emphatically not to reveal who she was. But I couldn't believe it, because she was a knowledgeable, biblical Christian that I had many conversations with, and she helped me a lot to my channel. That's why I still would have came out with the truth, but she asked me not to. Okay, but and you say, well, what happened? Okay, what happened? So just let me tell you this at first, okay? I didn't want to believe this, and I didn't believe this when they told me, and God even sent two other people to make sure that I would finally wake up and realize what was going on. Okay, so this person who helped me a lot, and I had already interviewed and knew, okay, years before I met Anna, the angel, okay? She was a Christian and everything, and I had, you know, no reason to suspect her. And like I said, I defended her. I told my friends, you got it all wrong. This can't be her. How do you know it was her? Because, okay, here's what happened. So my friend Anna was actually an angel living a human life. She was living in Thailand, working as a gemologist. She had a business. She had been there for 7 years. She was also a psychic that was working with police. The reason she found my channel was because she was a targeted individual like I am. Look up targeted individual, organized stalking, gang stalking as it's more commonly known. This is a government program to minimize, destroy, psychologically wreck, and financially and socially ostracize from society people. It's like a program, and they do all kinds of weird stuff that you can't possibly believe, from directed energy weapons, from satellites and cell phone towers to burn your skin and cause all kinds of problems and health problems and everything, to what they call street theater people that they satanically controlled and owned people who will confront people on the street and drive them crazy with like a key phrase, or even like start they'll pick a color and they'll drive the person crazy with it. You know, like this one guy was complaining about black and orange, like it would be somebody with a black and orange shirt, and then they come up with a black and orange car, and it's just so weird that until you have some experience with this, it's hard to believe. It sounds like lunacy. It sounds like paranoia. I get it. Okay, just in case you're watching this and you're like, do you have any idea how freaking whacked out you sound? Okay, give me a chance here, because actually this is pretty interesting, and I am of a sane, rational mind. You will see that if you listen to me for any length of time, or especially for a prolonged length of time. Check out my movies, Richard Bruce on YouTube, or freeourworld.org is where you can find all my stuff. Now, what happened was, my Anna had God had sent her to help me. And what happened was, she just all of a sudden in late 2018, we had been talking for a while, and because she wanted to know about the targeting stuff after seeing my channel on YouTube, and then she just said, how can I help you? And I'm like, what do you mean? Well, do you need help with anything? Well, yeah, I'm always broke, and my insurance is due, my tires are bald, I'm living on the street, homeless. I got a car and an RV. I don't know how I'm going to keep it up. So she just started sending me money, 70 grand in total. From late 2018 to early 2020, when she died. She died in 2020. She passed on. And there's a whole story about that, which I've talked about more on my channel. I don't want to get into the details. I'm going to focus here on the Marvel superheroes, okay? So, turns out what happened was, Anna was she was traveling abroad on business, okay? And what happened was Satan and two demons attacked her. Okay, so literally Lucifer and two big demons show up and they beat the bloody hell out of her, and she was left for dead in a river in Singapore. Okay, so she was traveling from Thailand, traveling to these local countries on business, and she got attacked, and then they beat the holy crap out of her. I mean, just like bruised and bloody and just totally wrecked. And then her hand got stuck on the side, and she was trapped on the side of a river. Okay, and for 6 days before the policeman that she had been working with in Thailand, who I got to know, and he contacted me and everything, and we met, and I found out, and I met, and I was talking to her lawyer, Kunpi, who is a former priest of this monastery, and then God gave a dream to the leader of this ancient monastery in Thailand, and he got 5 other monks, went to Singapore, got her out of the hospital because it was Satan's hospital, and I was concerned about that. You know, Satan owns all the hospitals, in case you didn't know that. This world is run by Satan. The governor is Satan. You can see that from Job. In any case, I was worried that they were going to attack us. She was like Satan really was coming after her because she was busting up his pedophile child trafficking rings because she was psychic. So she could look at a photo, she could tell if the suspect was guilty and their current location. So you can imagine how big of a help that was. So she was helping the police both in Russia and in Thailand, and Satan was pissed. So after 7 years, and she started contacting me. Then I think that really pissed him off, and he went himself with 2 demons and beat the crap out of her. Okay, and they caught her on CCTV footage from a nearby bank. She was meditating by a river. She was sitting cross-legged meditating, and she started rising up from the ground. The tape shows a homeless man running towards them, and then the for some reason the footage fades to black, cuts out for no reason they can figure. When it comes back, the homeless man was found dead, and Anna was gone. And they searched and searched, and they searched up and down the river, and finally, way down the river, they found her. She was stuck. Her hand was stuck to the side of to the fence on this river. Okay. And but they brought her back. These monks, the master monk and 5 monks, brought her back to the monastery, and she was there recovering. Satan had stolen her eyes, so she was blind. And then, so while she was there, there's a bunch of other stuff that happened. I'm really, shortening all this. So, but what happened was, while she was there, this naked woman shows up out of nowhere. Okay, a naked woman in a monastery of all men. And the reason, and by the way, the master monk normally wouldn't bring a woman into the monastery, but this was a special occasion where God had actually sent him a dream to go get her. And they were healing her, and so this was a special thing. So, but then this other woman shows up naked with long black hair, and she was like really cackling in an evil way, and she was shift jumping around. So she would appear in one place and appear in another place. Okay, so a naked woman with long black hair, she would appear in one place and appear in another place, and she was cackling and mocking Christianity, going you Christian fools, whatever, mocking God, mocking the Bible, mocking Jesus, and really really evil and cackling. You say, wait. Didn't you tell me that this person was an ardent Christian? Yes, I did. Here's what's happening. If you look up these super soldiers, what you will find is that in order to make them, they split their personalities. Okay, they're split personalities. They're called alters. Okay, it's like, and what another angel told me at one point is that we're all made up of a bunch of different people. Okay, so in every person, there's a whole bunch of different people, and what they can do through torture or whatever other means they do. But as far as I know, it's like the MK Ultra thing. They torture people to fragment their personality, and what they do is they locate these people, like the Scarlet Witch, who has the power to shoot these fireballs and blow shit up, and she really did that. She had all these powers, and but what they do is they split their personality. Okay, so they find the person that's the ruthless evil person, and they bring that altar to the fore and push the other good, nice Christian one back and other ones back, and the mean one forward, and then they put that in a super soldier body, a clone body that they have prepared, because they don't take the actual body that stays home and makes YouTube movies and they sound like a goodly person and they have a whole Christian group and they're praying and it's all so wonderful and everything. But her altar is this Christian mocking, cackling super witch that can shoot fireballs and blow up stuff. Okay, so So the one incident, she showed up, and this time she didn't use her fireballs. The first time we ran into her, she shows up. She's appearing in these different places. She grabs my Anna and takes her, and they disappear for a week. And my Japanese friend, who was a police captain there in Thailand, was so distraught that he was about to commit seppuku, which is suicide, and he's got the sword. He's about ready to kill himself, and she shows up hovering in the air with glowing eyes. All the monks are freaking out, like, holy crap, there's this woman hovering in the air. Her eyes are glowing. She has this thundering voice of God, and she says, how dare you take what belongs to me? Because I guess she had saved his life or whatever, but she spoke with this loud, thundering voice. All the monks were like, whoa! You think you'd be like, whoa, cool, something paranormal. When you see this, even a woman hovering in the air, but with glowing eyes, you'd be like, whoa! When it's something that's outside of your reality, you freak, man. Just like that guy was saying about the. I was recently posting something about the Miami aliens. He was saying, yeah, you think you would, go, whoa, cool, if you saw aliens or something, but when you see it in real life, you go, whoa, you freak, you freeze because it's outside of your purview of understanding of what reality is. So you just freeze, like, whoa, like, what is this? You freak out. So that was the first time, okay? And so what happened was, apparently, I don't know what happened, like what they got into a fight in the spirit realm or whatever, but what happened was both of them, the witch, with the naked witch with long black hair, and Anna disappear for a week. She shows up a week later, and then in another incident that happened a bit later, what happened was, bottom line to it is, I gotta cut this because there's a lot of details to it, but two policemen, a priest, and a servant to the royal household there in Thailand were in a government SUV on their way to the city. My friend Kunpi, the priest, looks out the window. He sees a naked woman running in the forest as fast as the car. Okay, just looks over. Oh, there's a naked woman running through the forest as fast as the car. Next thing you know, kablooey, the car blows up. Okay, the two policemen are moderately hurt. The servant of the royal household is severely hurt. Third-degree burns all over his body, multiple fractures in his spine. Luckily, my Anna healed him, and that was a whole huge episode in and of itself in the hospital. So she had these superpowers, okay, and she could heal anything but by transferring it onto herself. But this one was so major that when she did it in the hospital, there was some other people in the room, and there was this huge flash of light. Everybody passed out. And then she had also created, this other angel told her she could create other bodies to put some of the injury on. So she did that. So she actually created bodies out of thin air, okay? And she also created two people as well, okay? I've documented all this. It's wild as hell. I said make people and bodies, okay? Spontaneously. Just think it into being. Boom, a whole person appears, okay? Don't ask me how. And I don't expect you to believe me. I'm just telling you what happened in case you're someone who knows some of this stuff is true, and later on things add up and you realize that this stuff is going on. It's super ultra weird. Okay, so when the super soldier witch attacked our friends driving to the city in a government SUV, it suddenly blew up, and I found out later through my Anna that in fact it was the NSA who sent that super soldier asset, the Scarlet Witch, to blow up this car. And again, the angel asked me not to reveal it, so I'm not going to reveal who that is. But and you say, well, how did you figure all this out? Because like I said, God sent me various people, including Kunpi, to inform me that it was someone that I knew. Okay, and I never would have guessed if God didn't like take a hammer and hammer at me to figure this out by sending me some other people to tell me. And I'm just like, and finally I put it together, like, holy shit. And then I connected it with the Marvel movie. I knew because I also met the portal making girl. Okay, so you've seen that movie, Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness, and the little girl who opens up the portals. Turns out that's a real person too. So I didn't interact with her as much as I did with the Scarlet Witch, but I figured out what's going on here. And by the way, her avatar body is like a 9-year-old girl in a purple dress, kind of like some sort of takeoff on Alice in Wonderland, whatever. And but it was the same thing. Okay, so that person was a goodly, kind of nice person that I talked to, but I I confronted her on some stuff, and I unfortunately I wasn't able to talk with her very long, because when I did confront her with what my impressions were, it was quite insulting, unfortunately, and she got so pissed she didn't ever want to talk with me again. So unfortunately, I lost that opportunity. I admit that was my fault. I should have talked with her some more before I gave it to her straight, because like we talked for a while, we talked for like an hour and a half or whatever, and I decided to give her what came to me. I just I tend to be a little bit too honest. I could have probably put it in a more soft way and did things a little differently, and I could have learned more. Unfortunately, I didn't. I admit to being a fool. So, in any case, but I knew it was the same thing. It was a super soldier asset that works for Satan's world government. Okay, there's only one government. Okay, you may think that there's a little government. Satan runs the whole thing. Okay, he's the governor of the world. Remember, Satan brings Jesus up to the tower of the temple and shows him all the kingdoms of the world at once. And he says, all these will I give you if you will bow down and worship me. But how could he say, all these will I give you, if they didn't belong to him? Okay, so the world has been in the control of the devil all this time. Okay, a giant man-eating reptile who parades as this beautiful 30-ish Caucasian man with long curly white hair, according to 3 people that I personally spoke with. So as I said, these super soldiers that they send off on these missions, like they sent to go attack my Anna and destroy our friends and cause significant damage. These people are not, and they are portrayed. So you can see now, I knew who they were, and I knew that some of these characters are actually real people. And I found out later on that a lot of movies that have fantastic things that also really fascinated me. For instance, the Alien from the Aliens movie. Okay, so there was Aliens, with Sigourney Weaver and that whole thing. Turns out the alien's a real creature, and it turns out the ship, the Nostromo, was real, because they didn't call it that. But Captain Dallas and all those characters were real. The story didn't go quite like they said, but all this stuff. If you want to find out about that, is Jimmy Payne. Okay, a lot of stuff that we see in these movies is real. Okay, and I just want to say this to my fellow Marvel fans. Okay, especially if you like those movies, which I did. They were great. Okay, I love action movies. I love superhero stuff. I'm just a real big fan of all that stuff. And it was, it's mind blowing and kind of dream fantasy world land blowing as well. Revelation to understand that not only are these superheroes, not what we think, but and they're not just evil. Okay, I don't want to say that they're not just evil. Okay, they're extremely evil. Okay, like really freaking like the most heinous shit you can possibly imagine. Drinking child's blood, raping, pedophilia, mass murder, evil, just the most evil shit that you couldn't believe that this could possibly be happening, and that this would actually be real characters behind the made-up characters that we see in the Marvel movies. I know it's hugely disappointing, but I wanted to just get this out there, specifically talking about that one thing. I've talked about this before, but I wanted to make a separate movie about it so that you can realize the truth about this, and just realize that a lot of the stuff that we think is so goodly, well, it ain't. If you're watching this, it's not too late. Say this prayer now. Father in heaven, please save my soul by the work of your Son Jesus on the cross, and show me your pure words in the authorized King James Bible.